Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for coming to this Lesbian Visibility Week, celebrating and exploring butch culture in the UK and its exciting resurgence that we've seen in the last few years. I'm joined by some of the most exciting people pioneering community projects and events that platform butchness in all its beautiful forms. My name is Georgia, she, her. I am an editorial assistant at Diva magazine and I'm proudly butch. I write a lot about my own experience of being butch for the magazine, and I'm also a proud member of the Bristol Butch community. I was wondering if we could now go round and introduce ourselves and just say a little bit about what it is we're involved in running and share what that community, what that project is doing for the community. So if Tabs, you want to start maybe?
Hi, my name's Tabs. I started Club Night Butch Please about 8 or 9 years ago now. It's for lesbian, trans, and non-binary people, and we celebrate butchness, as you say, in all its glorious forms. I was, like I say, all degrees of butch. And basically, it's a night that runs twice a month at the RVT. We do second Saturdays and last Thursdays. And it's been one hell of a ride, basically. It wasn't... I basically started Butch Please because I didn't feel like I had a home on the scene. There were a couple of things going on, but really when I started Butch Please, there was very little at all. And certainly there was nobody really talking about butch or butchness, particularly on mainstream media platforms like this. And so I suppose for quite a lot of those 8 or 9 years, it's been quite a lonely journey. Obviously, it's not that, butches aren't out there and we're all doing things, but there really wasn't much kind of collective discussion around that identity at the time. So I decided to create the club night that I wanted to go to. And I really believed in bringing people together, because one of the most exciting things about bringing people together in real life, in space, is that you never know what's going to come out of it. You never know how exciting the fruits of that are going to be. So that might be, and as we've seen over the last few years, that might be a photography project. That might be butch club nights elsewhere in the UK or even the world, and I really am very proud that, having started Butch Please, what's come of that is that people have come together in that space and they've talked to each other and they've gone on to create amazing, amazing things. And that's something I'm extremely proud of. And, let's keep going.
Lovely, thank you for that. Rosie or Chloe, do you want to go next?
Should I jump in, Chloe, or do you? So I'm Rosie. I'm co-founder of Bristol Butch Bar with Chloe. We've been going for a year, and it's a community-run community meetup that's in a pub once a month, every month. It's about 50 or 60 people come now every month. It's also a load of other events as well. We do butchcraft, which we're going to do another one in the woods soon, so learning like survival skills. We're going to do a leather making workshop. We do parties as well, get sort of foregrounding talent and stuff, but we're not, it's more about going down the pub and having a chat and hanging out. We're very much inspired by a couple of things. One of them was watching Rebel Dykes and kind of seeing the scene that existed in like the 80s and 90s, and the other was going to Butch Please. And honestly, I'd never seen a room of so many people that looked like me, and it was kind of a life-changing experience, really. I guess I'm used to there just being one or two at a queer night, and to have a room full of them was quite extraordinary and mind-blowing. And me and Chloe went to that together, and we were like, well, can we have that in Bristol? Are we allowed that? Is that possible? So we just started inviting friends along, and then it turned into a big WhatsApp group, and now it's this massive, beautiful thing that we're hoping to sort of help spread to other cities as well, help other people set up their own butch bars. Because, maybe I've talked too much. Do you want to jump in, Chloe?
Yeah, I guess it's like free, so anyone can rock up to the pub, and anyone that says they're for Butch Bar, they're for Butch Bar. And I run Craft Corner, so that's for like shy neurodivergent people that want to come and be part of community, but maybe like chatting to people isn't the best way. It's like, so we've done banners, we've done badge making, zine making, lots of different crafts, which I love. So that's been really fun. Yeah, and we've run some shibari workshops, different things. Basically, if someone comes up with an idea of what they want to do, we do it. And we've got a group of dadmins that help us run it. So we've been on like a football trip to see the Lionesses in Bristol. So that was really fun. Yeah, just different things. And like, it's mainly to feel part of a community. Because I think coming out of lockdown, everyone wanted to feel part of something. And also someone close to me died recently, like this time last year. And I thought it was really important, like for people that are non-binary, trans, to like come together, rather than, I think there's so much hostility at the minute that like coming to a pub and chatting to friends and like celebrating the butchness that you can see, and like it's beautiful. Yeah, I really enjoy it.
Thank you so much, both of you. As I said, I'm a very proud member of the Bristol Butch community, so I pretty much attend every month, and that's been a really, really important part of like me understanding my identity, going to that space. So yeah, finally on to Terry, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hello. You might hear the ambient noise of my cat snoring. My apologies. So yeah, I'm from Butch Lineages, which is a volunteer-run collective project. It's many things. It's a DIY research group, a discussion group. Mainly, it's an endeavour in sort of like Butch community organising. We believe really strongly in the importance of like personal and living histories. So it's about like, yeah, just meeting up and you know we have monthly meetups, London based. You know we have these different topics each session, and yeah, it's just basically about like tackling, you know, butch loneliness within, I guess, the wider lesbian community. You know, connecting mask lesbians, duds, butchers. That's the goal. You know, to create our own sort of communal foundations, and we also hope to sort of like heal some of the wounds of like, I suppose, societal isolation and alienation and things like that. Just through, as I said, monthly meetups, just sitting down and talking about stuff. And you know, we have our different members do different sessions, different topics. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Quite easy to sum up, really.
Thank you so much, Terry. Yeah, I've come across Butch Lineages recently and really, really excited about it. Hoping to come to London at some point and come to a discussion.
Please do.
So yeah, I thought firstly we could have a bit of a broad discussion about why it is that there's been this kind of vibrant resurgence in butch culture. It really feels like, you know, we're having a moment. You know, obviously Tabs, you were running Butch Please before lockdown, and flying that flag, but it feels like since lockdown, you know, there's like things popping up all the time. You know, there was that like the Guardian article recently that just like really brought it all together and celebrated everything that's going on. So I don't know if anyone wants to jump in and talk about their thoughts on this.
I mean, my experience of running Butch Please sort of like pre and post COVID is that essentially just a whole load more young people started to connect with the idea of butch, and also I think had come to understand the value of connecting in real life, how important going out, you know, generally not it's, you know, and I'm talking about drinking and clubbing, but it's not always in that context, of course, but just how important it is to go out and connect with other people that experience life the same way as you do. And that was just my experience. They just came. They just, you know, and I, you know, I also feel like it's because, you know, we do all have to keep representing. We have to keep representing for younger people always. whether we're running events or not. You know, if you're walking down the street, you're still representing, and that's super important. You know, I had a young person come to the club who said to me, I used to go to school around the corner from where you lived, and I used to watch you from the school window, walking your dog up the road. And I thought to myself, everything's going to be okay, because one day I can be like that. And it's like, you know, I was just kind of, of course, it had never even occurred to me most of the time when I was walking my dog up and around the road, probably in a bad mood, that would be giving someone hope, a young person hope. So I think for sure young people have had a really big part in this resurgence of butch. And I also think, you know, the media have kind of, like you say, The Guardian and other places have given a voice to a certain kind of degree of positivity around butch identity that I hadn't necessarily always seen before. I mean, I'd done various articles and interviews and stuff over the years, but a lot of the time it often wanted to focus on kind of the violent, difficult, challenging aspects of you know, being an incorrect woman, and instead of some of the more positive stuff. And I think all this stuff that you guys are doing, and all this stuff, which is really more of a celebration of butch, has really had a positive impact on encouraging other people to do things and encouraging other people to go, hey, do you know what? I could have a good life. I'm going to have amazing friends. I can start my own projects. We can connect and we can be happy.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm going to guess we might be similar ages, Tabs, but like when I grew up, butch was like such a bad thing to be called. It was like, it was, and there's something quite, I think there's a reason that culture kind of converged in a kind of hatred of butch people in a certain way. And I think it's because within butchness, that is like gender nonconformity, it's like queer masculinity, it's like all of these little pieces that are so dangerous to the overarching, like to patriarchy, right, to the way things are, to like, this is what a man is, this is what a woman is, and everyone has to play their role. And butches have always been at the foreground or the forefront of like, no, I'm just going to be me, this is what I am, and challenging that, I guess, in their gender nonconformity, like in their way of just being themselves. And I genuinely think we're like in a little moment in culture where, you know, it's getting attacked as well in terms of like, you know, what's going on with the culture wars and the debate around transness, and like it's because this stuff is pulling at the seams of like the way the system that's oppressing all of us. And it's just, anyway, what I want to say is there's just something very beautiful about butch people and that queer masculinity and that, and like women and non-binary people, trans people, like whatever identity people have, like we share this experience of gender nonconformity, which can be really difficult, but it's also like, we know because we live it, it's just really beautiful. There's something really grounding, there's something, and it's the oppositional force to toxic masculinity, which is kind of what's dominating everything and killing the planet and stuff. So I don't know.
Sure. And you know, I mean, I've also been very open about, like, for me, being butch isn't about a masculinity. It's actually about a femininity, because I do identify as a woman. Obviously, not all butch people do, but I do, and it's that challenging. I said in the Guardian article this. I think there's a real connection between the experience that trans women have and butch women have, and that's something that people don't really talk about and don't explore, because we both challenge this very, very fixed and oppressive idea of what a woman should be. And that really, really upsets people. And I think if we can build bridges and build connections between us within the queer community to highlight what we share in these issues and how we can fight together, it's only going to be good for everybody.
Yeah, because I mean, this is the thing, is like you and I, you know, I don't identify as a woman anymore, but the world's going to treat me the same way it treats you, because we're both gender non-conforming. Like, we're both clearly not doing what we're supposed to be doing, and it's that's where the solidarity comes in. And
yeah, of course, yeah.
When we set up Butch Bar, we tried to sort of be really inclusive of all of the different, like, people can just come if they want to explore any aspect of themselves, whether they identify as butch or not. It's like, just come and have chats, and everyone's got different ways of being in their butchness.
Definitely.
Yeah, encouraging. Yeah. No, I'm agreeing. I'm just
yeah, nice.
Thank you so much, both of you. Terry or Chloe, do you have anything to add to that?
I was going to mention, like, there's definitely been within like the online sphere, there's been like a strong sense of butch identity sort of, I suppose, reforming, and a lot of what we're experiencing, like the spaces that we're creating, is part of that. I think a big part of that resurgence. You know, that is similar to, I suppose, or not similar, but associated with like expansions upon gender expression, which I think you guys covered quite well. So yeah, I think that's like a big part of the resurgence itself. And there's also like connection to like transness that you've mentioned as well, that I think is like really pertinent. So yeah, I'm basically agreeing.
I think just to add, like, I guess after the lockdown, there's, well, especially in Bristol, there's a queer everything. Like, it's so good. Before the pandemic in Bristol, there's a couple of good queer nights, but after, there's queer chess club, there's like queer pool, there's so many different groups. And I think people really, really want to connect and be part of a community. And I think there's more focus on like not it all being about booze, and like lots of sober events, like we do walks in nature. I don't know, there's just, people really want to connect. So, and I think there's more of a thing is, if it doesn't exist, make it yourself. Well, that's what Rosie and me did. We wanted to go to something, we made it ourselves. Like, I don't know, it feels there's a more DIY kind of thing coming out of the pandemic, that if it doesn't exist, make it happen. And like do it nicely and well and inclusively.
I think it's really exciting what you're saying about like you know, just showing kind of like the breadth and diversity of all the things that butch people do, which I think is really important. When I started Butch Please, we had and I still do it every now and again, but we did a skill share at the beginning of every night, and my idea was really just to show all the cool things that all my friends could do. Yeah, like you said, whether it was crafting or bike maintenance or pottery or lap dancing, like it could be anything at all. And I think that was really just because I wanted to show people that like we are interesting, you know, people with broad and diverse lives, and we do all sorts of different things. And that is part again of really celebrating who we are beyond, you know, hanging around a nightclub, you know, drinking, which I'm absolutely someone who thinks that's, you know, a amazing and worthy thing to do. I don't have any shame around going out and drinking and meeting people for sex and that kind of stuff. I think we're totally entitled to do that. I'm from the George Michael School of Gayness there, but you know, but I also think it's amazing to try and celebrate all the things that we can do, and in doing that, bring all our friends and bring all our community into what we're doing by saying, oh well, you can do that, that's awesome, and you can do that, that's even more awesome, you know. It's like, and I just think that's great that you guys are doing that as well.
Yeah, I think it's amazing how there's this kind of multiplying effect, you know. Of like, I mean, even in this discussion here, you know, Tabs, you started Butch Please, and that helped Rosie and Chloe start what you're doing, and it's like the more we put on these events for our community and DIY organize and do it ourselves, the more it creates other events, and butch cultures and queer cultures just going to continue to thrive. So
yeah, and I did speak at a Butch Lineages event, by the way, and it was really excellent. It was great. It was like super chill and super interesting for me. It was just super interesting for me to hear from lots of people about their experiences of everything, really, and what they were looking for.
We had a potluck.
Yeah.
I saw that. I really wanted to. And I think that thing about DIY grassroots organizing is really exciting, because it kind of feels like there's a little bit of the like 80s, 90s culture coming back here, post lockdown, of like, it's exactly what you said, Chloe, of that do it yourself attitude. If you don't have it, and you don't see yourself reflected in the culture around you, you just create it. And I think everyone here has got that spirit, which is testament to why butch culture is having such an exciting cultural moment.
Yeah, there's a real almost engineering that me and Chloe are sort of doing here in terms of creating opportunities for friendships and connections, powerful connections, very much inspired by like losing people in our community. And the thing that helps people stick around is connections and deep connect and different kinds of connections as well. And like going partying with people is like a beautiful, and dancing is like so important, so much part of like our culture, what we do. And then also there's these other things as well, like going on a field trip to go down to Butch Please. In fact, like it took 2 days, and it meant that we spent longer together, and we can kind of bond in a new way. You know, people snogging each other, all kinds of stuff going down. But like we're like really trying to get to that. We're really trying to create these new type, lots of multiple types of connection between people within community, and then between communities as well. And I think that web is what's going to hold us safer. And don't want to sound too dark here, but in the times to come, like things are looking
Definitely.
a little dicey coming up, right? So that and you know, if there's anyone who's going to like get together and like solve a bunch of shit, it's a bunch of butches with like fucking great humans, and so there's that as well. And anyway, so I guess I'm just sort of saying.
I think it's definitely like, you know, because one of the things that was most important to me discovering my butch identity was intergenerational connection.
Yeah.
And you know, that is, I think it's a funny thing, isn't it? Especially today with apps and, you know, meeting people online. Maybe you wouldn't necessarily pick someone that you might actually have some kind of connection with, any type of connection with. But in a real life space, you might be attracted to someone you never thought you would be for you know, whatever, friendship or something more. And it was definitely meeting older butches for me that saved my life. 100% saved my life. I just never ever thought that it was possible to live the life that I'm currently now living if I hadn't have met those people. And if I can give that a bit in that space to some other younger people, then I'm happy. As far as I'm concerned, that's job done. And as you say, hopefully those connections endure and keep us safe.
Absolutely. I bumped into someone who I met at a butch bar. She's in her 60s yesterday at the pub, and she was telling me about, she lives half the week in the woods and she's built a shelter, and that's literally my dream. So she's been telling me about like how to do that, and then she was telling me about like microdosing tea, and then she was telling me about, you know, and it's like, and I was just like, tell me things, like, and then tell me about her kids, and then tell, you know, and all these different, anyway, that was like a little,
I mean, those moments when you meet an older butch, for example, or just another butch who's going to be meaningful in your life, they like stay with you forever. I was just chatting to someone the other day, and I remembered a butch woman who gave me somewhere to live in a share house in Stoke Newington, and I just remember she used to take a lot of care of her whites, so like white socks, white t-shirts, white shirts, and there was like a real laundry routine to keeping these whites white. And I just remember her ironing this white shirt in jeans and a bra and saying to me, "Thing is, Tabs, we butches were just the perfect mix of male and female." Was ironing this white shirt. It seems like a silly story, but I realized that it had really stayed with me. And this, you know, and just this kind of really encouraging, sexy interaction where she's ironing a white shirt. It really meant something to me, and it still does, you know.
Yeah, reflect on a similar thing. I've just found the next house that I'm going to live in through the butch bar chat. One of the older butches who's just come along. I think she might be in her 50s or 60s. Yeah, she goes and lives in Lesbos every summer. So she's letting me stay in her house.
Who is it? Who is it? I know everyone in Lesbos.
There you go. Yeah, so she's letting me stay in her home. So it is crazy, the connections that you build just from going to the pub with a bunch of butchers.
Or the woods, wherever.
I just wanted to finish. I guess we have all reflected on this a bit, but on what impact personally on your identity or, you know, your life being involved in the butch community has had. I just wanted to start by saying that during lockdown, I was doing research for one of my dissertations about the history of the Bristol lesbian scene, and I like read about all these, and I talked to all these old lesbians about these pubs that were like really intergenerational, and it really deeply impacted me because at the time I was just like, I have no connection to any community, and yeah, I felt really, really emotional about it. And then coming to Butch Bar, I've literally just had this realization last week that I'm now living the dream that I had in lockdown. Like, it is real, it's a reality. And coming to Butch Bar and just seeing so many different people who are living so many different lives and like futures that I could embody has just been life changing. And it's like changed how I see my body completely. And I'm just so much happier for it. So that's personally how it's impacted me. So thank you, Rosie and Chloe. Yeah, if anyone wanted to add anything to that.
I just want to say it's quite interesting because, of course, these are all sort of bar and pub spaces, and because we function out of a library, it's very different. And we're also quite a young project. We've only been running for about a year, so it's really interesting to hear about how people are connecting within those spaces, because it's quite different for us. Because we're more of like a research based thing. We're not academic even a little bit. We have no sort of real connection to academia. We might have academics in the group, but we mainly are just sort of very DIY, trying to work off of archives and things like that to construct these sessions, have these discussions, and the social aspect is very slowly creeping in. So it's really nice to hear about like how people are coming together outside of, you know, the actual functions. We're trying really hard to get like that intergenerational aspect in as well. And it's just, yeah, it's really cool to hear about, genuinely.
Well, I did feel a little bit older than a lot of people who were there.
I was going to say, it's a strangely younger space. It's why, like,
it's nice though.
Yeah, it's because we get a lot of people coming who are more, I suppose they're more quiet types. They don't really want to be with nightlife. So,
although I've seen quite a few of them at Butch Please After, and they weren't being
no,
quiet.
definitely. They're coming out of it. Like, they'll come and they'll be like quite shy, and we have people who like, oh, I don't know any other lesbians. You know, this will be like their first thing, and then a few like sessions later, they'll come to us and be like, I'm thinking of going to Butch Please, or just other stuff like other community events, and it's really nice. Like, it's nice to have that slight sense of like I suppose domino effect.
Definitely. And I mean, I just love you know, really what we're all talking about when we talk about connection in spaces. They're different spaces, but we're just talking about chatting with each other, talking, finding out what's going on. What's your life like? What's my life like? Oh my God, that's the same for me. There's nothing more life affirming than that. And it's even for me, like running a space, as long as I've done it, every single night that I do it, I feel less alone. I feel supported and I feel loved, and I have a unique feeling, as you say, Rosie, of like being in a room full of people who look like me, who experience the world the way I do, and it makes me feel like I can get up and live another day.
Amen.
It's powerful stuff.
Yeah.
Amazing. Does anyone else have anything to add to that, or are we happy to leave it there, because that was a beautiful ending?
I guess I just like I see myself in more shy, like people that like craft, and the fact that I can do that in a pub, and I can be looking at like making a banner next to someone and have a really nice chat to them. That's what I like, having really in-depth one-to-one chats in like a beautiful space. And I like being able to offer that to other like shy people. So yeah, that's where I feel kind of most seen, I guess. How about you, Rosie?
Well, I'm an introverted extrovert, so I can go out and be friendly and stuff, but then I have to go and hide in a hole for 3 days. But yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that I like the most really about what we've been up to in Bristol is the different types of space for the different types of people, and yeah, trying to do things in the woods, going camping, going clubbing, doing a party, sitting in a corner of the pub making badges, and being quiet. And we do get, and people just turn up, you don't know anyone, over and over again. I mean, Georgia, you came, you didn't know anyone, right? The first time.
Yeah.
So that trying to like, people are just made to feel welcome, and it's yeah, I don't know, yeah, it's a rewarding thing. Everyone's just aching to meet each other and be in connection, even if that's in a kind of shy, non-eye contacty kind of way, sat next to them whilst doing something else. We're all like just, yeah, we need each other, I guess, is the thing, and in whatever way that comes.
So I guess, yeah, coming away from this discussion, it's just I just want to say thank you all for doing the beautiful things that you're doing. Yeah, I've obviously been to Butch Please on our Butch Bar trip. Butch Bar is a regular part of my life, and Butch Lineages I'm really excited to become a part of my life, as I am a big archive nerd. So yeah, thank you so much, everybody, for being involved in this discussion. It's been beautiful.
Thanks, Georgia.